You're listening to Power Talk, Berkeley Electric Cooperative's official broadcast about the cooperative, our communities, and ways to use energy wisely. And now, let's join our hosts for today's episode. Good morning and welcome to Power Talk. I am Micah Ponte, the Communications and Media Specialist here at Berkeley Electric Cooperative. And joining me today is our co-host, Miss Libby Roig, the Director of Marketing and Communications.
And Micah, it is not only a good morning, it's the most wonderful time of the year, so.
Almost. We're getting there. Jumping the gun already, I tell you. We're already off the rails. Just finished the introduction and she's already jumped ahead. We haven't even introduced our guest. We have a very special guest.
That's a tease.
In studio, Mr. Brad Sale, Director of Old Santee Canal Park. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you for having me. It's we've been celebrating since September already. So
yeah, we'll jumping the gun too. We'll get to that. Everybody, hold your horses, okay? We've got a schedule here to keep.
That's right.
Well, Brad, first time on the show. We've already gifted you with our official Power Talk mug, so welcome to the family. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found your way to Old Santee Canal Park?
Good deal. Thank you. Yes, and thank you for the mug, and thanks for having me as well. I appreciate the opportunity. So I grew up in a small town in Kentucky. I moved to South Carolina to go to school about 25 years ago. So that's how I got to South Carolina. I went to Coastal Carolina University, studied marine science and biology there. And then upon graduation, I did the seasonal work, bounced around for a few years. And then 16 years ago, I landed my dream job at Old Santee Canal Park. And so I've been there for 16 years. Some days it feels like 60 years. Some days it feels like 6 days. So it's my dream job. I love it there. And so, I'm just happy to talk about all that we do.
What all does your job entail at the park?
So at the park, we're a resource for the community. And so, we have public programs. We have school groups come out on field trips. We run festivals and events. We have weddings and family reunions out there. And then, of course, just the day-to-day operations, for visitors that are here in our local community or from out of state come out. And so, there's always something to do and there's always something going on. At sometimes it feels like the park can be a sleepy little park. But other times it does not. And
yeah. So no 2 days are alike.
That's
for sure.
Correct. That's correct. It keeps it fresh.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, with all the growth that we have in Berkeley County, like we mentioned, we've got folks coming in from all over the place. We are very fortunate to have wonderful, unique green spaces in Berkeley County. We've got Cypress Gardens, Mebkin Abbey, and of course we've got Old Santee Canal Park. So what distinguishes Old Santee Canal Park? What makes it special? Give us a little bit about the history and some of the key attractions, if you could.
Okay, yes, sir, absolutely. And you're 100% right. This area of South Carolina, Berkeley County, really is just history and nature lovers' paradise. And so, you talk about Mebkin Abbey and Cypress Gardens in the park. That's really a trifecta. We also have the lakes, the rivers, national forests, things like that. So at what separates the park from those other things, just like most things in South Carolina, there is a beautiful blend of history and nature. And so the park is about 300 acres, and historically we have, it's the site of the first canal ever built in America. So that's our namesake. It was a 22-mile long canal that connected the Santee River to the Cooper River. It finished in 1800, and so that's the namesake of the canal. That's our main mission. We also are the site of the Little David, which is the first semi-submersible boat to attack an enemy ship.
Okay,
the Hunley gets Hunley gets all the press,
Glory,
press.
Yeah.
yes. The Hunley definitely had its historical significance, but the Hunley was built in Alabama and brought in by railroad. The Little David was actually built here on site. And once it was decommissioned, it would actually tow the Hunley out into Charleston Harbor on training missions, training runs, things like that. So, the Little David, we have a 170-year-old plantation house on the Cooper River, Stony Landing house. And the most recent one that I'm excited about. Again, we talk about 16 years. Things are still fresh. Last year, we opened up our 1.5-mile trails to Fort Fairlawn, which is a Revolutionary War fort located at the park. And it's one of 2 Revolutionary War forts that are still intact, the berm and the readouts and things in the state. So super excited about that as well.
I've spent a lot of time out at the park myself. Haven't made it to Fort Fairlawn yet. I need to do that because I didn't realize it actually connected with the park.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's just a nice, easy 1-mile walk back there. Nice graded gravel path, easy walk. Yeah,
because I've serve on the board for Berkeley County Kids Who Care, and as you know, we have Nature Scope out there every year, so very familiar with the park. I've spent lots of time out there on the boardwalks and walking around the swamp and trying to play nature spotter for all the kids that are out there, because they're just running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Let them off the leash and they're running wild through the swamp, and they miss all of the neat things. Right. So yeah, lots of alligators and egrets and turtles, and the wood ducks are some of the hardest things to try to sneak up on. I call them nature's alarm system.
They have such a unique alarming call, and whenever I flush a wood duck and they're yelling, and I almost just want to be like, calm down, it's just me.
I know. I went with my son's second grade class last year for a field trip to Old Santee Canal Park, and it was just a wonderful experience. They got to learn about the Native American history in the area, do the candle making. It was just a really nice slice of early American history.
Good deal. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for saying that. At the park, our mission is really to preserve and promote and educate, the historical, the natural, and the cultural history of the area. So, all of our programs, festivals, we just had the Wasamasa powwow at the park last weekend. Oh, yeah. Great turnout for that. And so, just so much rich history, culture, and nature here. And so that's what we try to preserve and educate.
And you mentioned nature, and you would think, the park is right in the heart of Moncks Corner, essentially, but you do get a chance to get back to nature. I've had several encounters out there myself. I remember I was out there for Nature Scope one year, and I was out there early, and I was down on the boardwalk, and I thought I was the only one down there, and I heard a lady walking on the boardwalk, because like hear the tack, 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 tack of her high heels, and I'm like, man, there's somebody out here beat me out here. And I turned the corner, and it's not a lady, it's a deer. And I don't know who was more startled, me or the deer. And the deer's like skidding around trying to run. I'm skidding around trying to run, trying to get out of his way. So, yeah. And then, of course, you mentioned the canal, too. I got another little story, and we'll get back on track. But y'all have canoes and boats and stuff that you can take out there. And I got real adventuresome one day, and I took the canoe, and I went out past the last bridge that you can go on, and I was back up there, and I think I saw the old canal walls. Are those still up there if you go back far enough?
If you go back far enough, yes.
Okay, yeah, I was back that far. Okay. So I was paddling. I was getting it. But as I was going along, and all of a sudden, alligator on the bank, and I startled the alligator. It startled me. It came off the bank, went underneath the canoe, and I was like, I'm really far back up here. Nobody's going to know what happened to me if this alligator knocks the canoe over. So I quickly did an about pace and paddled my way right back out of the canal, back into the main part of the main part of the park. So
yeah, and that's what I tell visitors when they come to the park. That's my favorite way to see the park is by canoe. Again, it's the first canal built in America. It's a 150-acre swamp of the park, and that's my favorite way to see it. And people will ask, are there alligators? And I say yes, and then I like to judge their reaction, whether they're happy about that answer or whether they're nervous about that answer. Yeah. And you can never convince them that the alligators are more afraid of you than you are of them. You can never convince them of that.
I mean, they are scary dinosaurs.
Yes, absolutely.
They deserve a lot of respect.
Yeah, they've got some cute ones too, though, because I've seen some baby ones out there.
The baby ones are cute.
Yeah. So what's a good time of year if you want to try to see baby alligators?
Well, alligators are interesting. the moms actually take good care of their babies for a year or two.
Oh.
So at any one time, there are baby alligators at the park. And the way that the swamp is shaped is more conducive for the smaller alligators. The bigger ones swim out to the river and to the lake. So our swamp typically is a good place for the moms to raise their babies. So on any warm day, you can find baby alligators.
Okay. Well,
at the park. So
Pro tip there.
there you go. Osprey. I mean, I've
Yes,
seen
yeah.
lots of stuff that's out there. You just keep a keen eye, and you'll see plenty.
Yep.
Well, we got a little bit off the rails. You mentioned there's something going on practically all year. We've talked about Nature Scope and some other things. What are some of the other events that y'all host, like your seminal events that you hold every year?
yeah, so and y'all have partnered with us and sponsored a lot of these events as well. So at the park we have what I quote unquote festival season. So we have a spring festival season that kicks off in March. Always the second Saturday in March is our oyster roast, and you guys have been sponsors from the beginning, and so appreciative of that. But that's always kind of the kickoff to all of our festivals. In the spring season, so we have oyster roast, we have Easter egg hunt, we have a native plant festival, we have Father's Day fishing rodeo, which is the only day out of the year you are allowed to fish in the swamp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, so it's a unique opportunity to actually fish in the swamp. Again, it's Father's Day, centered around families, things like that. We do take a little bit of a break in the summer because of the heat, and then fall festival season kicks off with the Berkeley Museum and Heritage Center that's on site as well. They put together a great colonial history day festival in September. And then again, we have the Powwow Red Ribbon Festival, the Kennedy Center. The kicks off Red Ribbon Drug Prevention Week as well. So we had the Powwow and Red Ribbon Festival in October as well. And then, of course, the
Dun, dun, dun.
the climax of all of that is our Celebrate the Season driving lights tour as well. So
We'll get there in just a second. 'Cause I got.
we are itching to get there, aren't we?
We are. We'll get there in a second. Come on, people.
It's the longest drum roll.
I told you I've spent a lot of time at the park, so I've got all kinds of stories to share. No, you're going to wonder, this guy's not real smart after you hear all my stories. But one of the things you mentioned, like the colonial reenactments, and one of the events that y'all had out there, they were firing off a cannon. And so I was taking some pictures of that, and I was like, man, this is really cool, taking pictures of the cannon. I was like, it'd be a really good idea. What if I went up on the porch of the Interpretive Center and I got in front of the camera to the side and take a picture? And folks, that wasn't a very good idea.
Yeah.
It was an extremely loud percussive force that basically threw me to my knees. And
Got a picture of the sky.
Yeah.
As he fell.
Very blurry picture of the sky as I'm looking up from my back. That was not smart.
Yeah.
Did not take that into account. So don't recommend it, and enjoy the reenacting from behind.
Yeah,
Right.
Don't
safe distance.
don't stand in front of the cannon. Pro tip: don't stand in front of the cannon.
And one of the stories from this, so this year's Colonial Day was on September 30th. The very first time that they shot the cannon that morning, a herd of deer just came tearing through the
wow.
park.
Yeah.
I guess they were somewhere in the woods nearby, and they ran off to a safer, quieter place.
What is the admission, like hours and cost to visit the park?
Yeah, so we are
generally?
open 7 days a week, 9 to 5, and the admission is $5 a person. We have military, AAA, senior citizen rate, 65 and older, is $3 a person. Kids under 6 are free. So, we're open 7 days a week. We are closed for 4 days. That's Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. So they're all kind of right there at the end of the year. So, but we're always open all those other days, and so it's a great time to come out. Any time of the year, there's always something different to see.
Well, folks, if you're just tuning in, we are talking with Mr. Brad Sale, the director of Old Santee Canal Park, and we've been talking about all the wonderful things that are going on throughout the year. And I guess I've pumped the brakes long enough. We're finally going to get
point of the show.
Right, we're gonna get to the point, but we're getting ready. So hold on, I have to now don we now our gay apparel. Hold on one second. For those of you who are watching, you'll understand what's going on. Otherwise, you're just going to hear a bunch of weird noises. So please bear with.
Apologies to our radio listeners.
We can make this podcast an hour.
We could talk about each exhibit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I could talk about the park and everything all day long.
So our friends on WJNI who are listening, Micah and I discussed wearing holiday apparel to the show. And I did, even decorated our table.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm official.
Yes.
I have my ugly Christmas sweater on. So getting in the spirit, time to talk about our favorite event, the culmination of everything that we've got going on, the Celebrate the Season at Old Santee Canal Park. We say this is one of our favorite times of the year, and we're proud to have been a title sponsor of the Celebrate the Season Driving Lights Tour since its start in 2011. Mm-hmm. So, Brad, why are we so excited about Celebrate the Season, and why is it important to the community?
It is a true community event. Mm-hmm. Again, and thankful for y'all's sponsorship from the beginning. It's a true community event. It's a true celebration of the season, of the holidays, and it's just growing and it's expanding, and just to see all of the families, all of the excitement, all of the enthusiasm, and all of the buy-in from the community as well, from regional business leaders to mom and pop shops, sponsoring and participating in this event. It's a true community event, and it's a great way to to close out the year and to celebrate the season. Not to be cliche, but it really is.
And it's a charity event, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, the admission into the driving tour is $10 a person. It did go up from $5, but 100% of the gate proceeds that we collect go to charity. So 100% of the proceeds not only go to charity, but they go to charities that stay within Berkeley County. Mm-hmm. And so, again, we've raised close to $1.2 million in the 12 years that we've all put this on, and all of that funds and proceeds have stayed within Berkeley County charities.
So Brad, quick clarification: it's $10 a car?
Yes. What did I say?
Person.
I'm sorry. Yes, $10 a car.
They're trying to really raise that. That fundraising is really going to be good this year.
We can edit that out, right?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, $10 a car.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such a wonderful environment to go check it out. I know Berkeley Electric has a gate night every Tuesday night, and just to see the families coming through, but also just the charitable nature of the people who are there. They'll pay for somebody behind them, or just here's a 20, keep the change. Right. Yes. It's just they understand it's for a good cause, and they're definitely in the spirit. And I know Berkeley Electric has donated its proceeds, at least since I've been here, to Cal and Lacey.
Yes,
so that's kind of our charity of choice, where our portion of the fundraising goes. So we're so proud to support such a great cause at Cal and Lacey.
And for those of you who might not really be familiar with Celebrate the Season, think the James Island County Lights, but better, because it's in Monk's Corner. You don't have to drive so far. There's not as much traffic.
Yeah.
And it's at beautiful Old Santee Canal Park. It goes right through the park and parts of Santee Cooper, and you don't ever have to leave your car if you don't want to.
Right. And that $10 per car, the driving route is a mile long. We purchased some new displays this year, so there's always some fresh lights. We've rearranged some of the existing displays. So, if you've been out for the last few years, even when you come by this year, you'll see some new and different things. So,
and you can go through as many times as you want, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Yeah. So for that $10 per car, you can drive that mile long route as many times as you want to that night.
Yeah, bring the kids out, the dogs. We see a lot of dogs. They like holiday
That's
lights
my
too.
favorite part. I used to work the gate on Saturday night, and I would love the kids hanging out the windows, but also the dogs as well.
Yes.
It's great.
They love it.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of dogs come through at our annual meeting because we now have a drive-through annual meeting. But another pro tip, at least the dogs at Berkeley Electric do not like milk bone. I guess it's not high quality enough. We have some bougie dogs that come through.
Begging strips.
So begging strips for the win if you want to give them any treats as they come through.
Also not candy canes either.
No.
But, we all deal with the greater Charleston traffic every single day in some capacity. I know we're all to the point where like, okay, now what time can I leave to avoid the worst of it? But, I live in Goose Creek and my family always comes down to drive through the lights because you don't have any hassle getting there. You're not going to have to sit in line for an hour and a half or 2 hours like you do at other displays. It's, maybe just a couple minutes to get in.
And another thing that we hear, so your point is accurate, but then also we'll hear from people that live in St. Stephen or Kingstree that maybe driving to James Island isn't even an option.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's able to bring the lights closer to where they are as well. So Goose Creek people are happy because they don't have to drive down to James Island, but some that are further out in Berkeley County can access the lights. So.
Yeah.
So what I want to see, and you'll probably have to start decorating in like March or April, is you need to have a walking path down in the swamp, and we need to have some lights down in the swamp, so.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
Michael will help.
I love it.
He will help. He's a little Griswold family.
Yeah, I tried one year. I was trying to keep up with y'all at Old Santee Canal. I just can't do it. I got up to about 11,000 lights at my house, but that was as far as I got, and that was too much. But you mentioned our employees. We volunteer for a gate night a couple times throughout the celebrate the season, and our employees always love going out there.
Yep.
I'm usually out there one night or 2 nights a week, or 2 times during the
whenever
event.
Yahira tells you.
Yeah, whenever Yahira tells me to. And I'm usually the guy waving the light stick, trying to direct traffic. So please do not hit me as you pull through. All right?
Well, if you wear that ugly sweater,
Yes.
I don't think they can miss you.
I'm gonna add the one that has the blinking lights on it, just for extra safety.
Right. Yeah. The other big news with Celebrate the Season is the holiday fair.
Yes.
And so the holiday fair, we've been working with the town of Moncks Corner, partnering with them and really, again, making this a true community event. So, the holiday fair will be at the park for 3 weekends in December as well. And so that's another big, announcement or, change as well.
So as soon as you get through with driving through the lights as many times as you want, you can just park and then walk right into the park.
Yes, sir.
And enjoy hot chocolate and the Grinch and Whoville. I think they did in the past some little Whoville little hair doodads or something like that.
Goodness.
Make you look like Cindy Lou Who. That's right up your alley.
Yeah. But there's pictures with Santa too.
Yes. So there's Santa Claus. Again, there are food vendors. There's Santa Claus, which is really the centerpiece of that holiday fair.
Yeah.
There is live music from local schools, local churches, local choirs. So there's live music. The Stony Landing Plantation House will be open and decorated in time appropriate or period appropriate decorations. So there are all kinds of craft vendors that will be out there as well. And so, and some things for the kids. S'mores pits is always a big hit as well. Yeah. And so, there's a lot going on and there's something for everyone.
So that's going to be the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Fridays and Saturdays in December. So the 8th and 9th, 15th, 16th, 22nd, and 23rd. So mark your calendars.
That's correct. Again, when partnering with the town, a couple of the changes. One is that we're not, the driving starts on Black Friday, but there's not going to be any fairs. That way we can all kind of digest Thanksgiving. We can all, be with our families for that weekend. The next weekend, the first is the town of Moncks Corner tree lighting, and then the second is their is their holiday parade, and so we're not having any events out at the park that weekend, the first weekend in December, and then the weekend after that is when the holiday fairs kick off. So.
Awesome. Now, Micah, you mentioned walking through the park.
That's my speed. Walking.
Yeah. Limping through the park these days. Tinsel Trot. This walking reminds me of Tinsel Trot. Tell us what is Tinsel Trot? And,
so it's my favorite event as well. We call it a sneaker preview of the lights. You know, who doesn't love a good pun? So it is always the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and it is the first chance that the public gets to see the holiday lights. And it's a run walk. It's a fun run walk. It's not a competition. It's not timed. Come out with your family, and you can, traverse the 1 mile to the end, and then you turn around, and then you come back that mile. So it's a 2 mile fun run walk through the lights. First time it's open to the public, and then at the end, we're gonna have our little, after party where Santa will be there again, s'mores, some food vendors, and DJ will be playing some Christmas music, things like that.
Right.
So a little after party as well.
So how do people participate in the Tinsel Trot?
So they register through Race Roster is the website that we use. So if they Google Race Roster Tinsel Trot, if they follow the Old Santee Canal Park on our social media platforms, we have the links there as well. And so they go in there and they can register, and then on November 18th, show up and have fun.
And we're past the T-shirt deadline, but you guys always have a great T-shirt. So maybe if you're interested, check it out for next year if you want to get a T-shirt.
Yeah. So the guaranteed T-shirt date is cut off, but we order extras, and so that day before, on that November 17th, is when people can pick up their shirts.
Okay.
And so if they're guaranteed a shirt, I have they're reserved, but then I have everything
extras
left over. Exactly.
Awesome.
So all those are first come, first serve.
Okay, great. Yeah, and it's a fun shirt, great night. Yeah. So it seems like Santa spends a lot of time at Old Santee Canal Park. Is this his winter second home, or
Sure.
is there a special connection to the North Pole?
Santa loves alligators.
Yeah.
Well, I was curious. I mean, you had mentioned the Stony Landing House a couple times. I mean, I've seen the house. I think for whatever reason, I've sort of missed the history behind it. I mean, where was part of a plantation, or what family was there, or why is that house there?
So it was built in the 1840s by a Charleston merchant named John Dawson, who really had his business downtown on the peninsula of Charleston. And where Stony Landing is, at the headwaters of the Cooper River, but then also the Congaree Path as well. It's a real intersection of travel. And if you're a Charleston trader and you have your home kind of at that intersection of travel, you kind of have your thumb on what's going on, things like that. So it was more of a summer home for him. It wasn't necessarily, this big working plantation. So it's a little bit smaller of a house than what you would typically think of. But.
Did he not realize that summers in the Low Country probably?
I'm
not sure that I would summer in the Low Country, winter maybe.
Right.
But
So-
to each their own.
Yeah. Brad, forgive my ignorance, but who owns Old Santee Canal Park? Santee Cooper? So
Yes.
is it a state-owned property?
So it is owned and operated by Santee Cooper.
Okay.
Again, we help serve Santee Cooper's mission of bettering the lives of all South Carolinians, and so that's really my mission. Our mission at the park, and our goal is to be this resource for the community in as many ways as possible, to be able to provide and this great green space, and to educate the history and the nature of the area. But it's owned and operated by Santee Cooper.
Great.
Okay.
Well, if you're not in the holiday spirit by now, Micah, I don't know what's
Hey,
going on.
I'm wearing the sweater,
Yeah.
okay? It's a good first step, I can't quite compete with Yahira. Like you said, she is the
Our
queen.
head elf.
Don't even try.
Yeah, don't even try. She's trying to figure out a way to get an 8-foot sleigh through the doors of the co-op so she can put it in our lobby. I'm not sure if it's going to work.
Yes.
But
True story.
yeah. So, folks, we're talking about all the things that are going on at Old Santee Canal Park and to celebrate the season. And just to recap, in case you don't catch it before Christmas, it still goes through after Christmas, all the way to December 30th. And to learn more about Celebrate the Season, you can go to their website at celebratetheseason.org, or like you said, we can probably go get some information on Old Santee Canal's website as well. And
follow them on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff going on.
There's tons of stuff. So go find out what else is happening at Old Santee Canal Park, and that's oldsanteecanalpark.org. And like you said, you can follow them on Facebook. So thank you for tuning into Power Talk. This is the official broadcast of your electric cooperative. You can catch up on past episodes on streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio, and get a behind-the-scenes look on Berkeley Electric's YouTube channel. So until next time, this is Power Talk, signing off.